For more analysis, we're now joined by Gary Batasar. He is a criminal defense lawyer and has known Deepak Paradkar for decades. Gary, thanks for joining us. First of all, you say you fell off your chair this morning when you heard Paradkar got bail. Why?
Well, it was very surprising to a lot of people. Maybe falling off the chair is a bit of hyperbole, but it was a very tough case. But he's entitled to bail, and the judge saw it that way. We live in a society or a system of bail, and the presumption of innocence is there, and he got it.
Now, Crown Attorney Heather Graham called Paradkar a, quote, massive liability to Ryan Wedding's organization. What do you make of that assessment?
Well, it's obvious the allegations are very serious. I don't know other than what was in the indictment, but the allegations are very serious. And if in fact it's correct that he was involved, and I say a big if, then obviously there are circumstances surrounding that could be liability for a lot of parties involved.
Now, to that end, Paradkar is being made out to be a massive flight risk, at least by the Crown. How valid is that concern, do you think?
Well, one of the main components the court looks at is primary, secondary, and tertiary grounds. And the primary grounds are whether or not you're a flight risk. And I suppose the judge, I read a portion of the decision, has not been released yet, but a portion that's online. The judge found that the $5.25 million in bail, coupled with a number of other conditions, would be sufficient to satisfy any flight risk.
Now, that may also involve, if I've read this right, surrendering his passport and being subject to electronic monitoring. Does that go far enough, do you think?
Well, I'm a criminal defense lawyer, and so surrendering the passport, electronic monitoring that's probably the tightest bail condition you can have on somebody, to have them under house arrest with electronic monitoring, GPS tether attached to their ankle, etc. So certainly we know that he has no criminal record or outstanding charges, and they put up a sufficient amount of money for his release, and he has to face still the actual extradition hearing. This is simply the bail.
What do you say to people who might argue Paradkar could benefit more from going into witness protection as an informant, for example, than trying to disappear, if that is, as the Crown may allege here?
Well, I'm not really. We don't have too much of that in Canada. That's a U.S. Sort of set of circumstances. But obviously, he talked about his safety, and he talked about a number of other things while he was in jail. And so that's a decision he's going to have to make between him and his lawyer. It's not something that I've ever had my clients involved in.
What will you be looking out for in the days and weeks to come in this case?
So the next step is going to be the actual extradition hearing. And the U.S. government, they've acted, or the Canadian government has acted on the authority to proceed. That is going to be a document that the judge is going to have to listen to some of the evidence that the prosecutor in the U.S. and the Crown on their behalf here are going to put forth before him or her. And they will have to make a decision whether or not that evidence is credible, reliable, and whether or not the crimes that he's charged with in the States are criminal activities here or crimes here. And then following that, they have something called committal. So if he gets committed to stand trial, then he'll have to surrender himself and be extradited to the U.S.
And lastly, Gary, we appreciate your time. How quickly do you think that process is going to play out?
Well, these are obviously serious allegations. And I don't think, given his health, given a number of other factors, I don't think it's going to drag on. And he's professed his innocence. So certainly I don't think he wants it to drag on. So perhaps that can happen in the next few months, and then he can have his day in court. And as I said, he's professed his innocence. And so we'll see how things unfold in court in California.
Gary Batasar is a criminal defense lawyer. We appreciate your time and perspective. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.